Good morning, everybody, and welcome to What's Real in Real Estate, where we talk about what's really happening in the real estate market here in Las Vegas, around the country, and around the world. And today I am thrilled to have definitely one of the good guys in our community, not just our real estate community, in our community in Las Vegas. With us today is Paul Mangual. Paul, Stewart Title, glad to have you, man.
Man, Ellie, thanks for having me, my friend.
This
I'm really
is my
excited
pleasure.
to be here.
This is great. Let's talk about the market. The one thing we can say is low inventory. Short of that, there's not much to talk about, is there?
Yeah, it's tough. We're seeing with our orders are actually increasing a little bit at the
Good.
title company, which is good. I'm sure everyone's been seeing that. But you're right. With the inventory being low and the interest rates being high, it's tough out there for agents.
It's a challenge. It's again, I've talked in the past about rates, and I don't want to belabor rates, but it's the rate that seems to drive a lot of people who were used to that 3%, 2.5%. They don't get it that historically 7.5% is normal.
No, you're right. But what that's done, those rate increases, it's basically shaken out the move-up buyer.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? The move-up buyer who was somebody who maybe they having another kid or wanted to move to a different part of town. Instead, they're just doing a remodel or adding on to their house.
Yeah, I made a mistake. I did it again. Take a minute, tell everybody a little bit about Paul.
All right.
Who you are, where you're from.
Well, I've been active in this real estate market now. I'm in my 22nd year, which is, I know it's crazy.
Wow.
I feel
That's
like
mine.
I
It's
started,
22 now.
Yeah,
for me,
22 years I've been in this business and pretty much raised here. I was born in New York, but moved here when I was a kid. My dad had a lounge act on the Strip back in the 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's what moved us out here. But I went to high school here, went to college here, graduated from UNLV. So I'm as local as you get when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Big Golden Knights fan, big UNLV Rebels fan. I just really love what's going on in our community. So for me, working at the title company, it's actually very helpful that I can work in the real estate business. You know, I'm married to a realtor, and I'm involved with all the things happening in this town. I really love it.
You are active. You are one of the most active title reps in our real estate community.
I'd certainly try.
We appreciate it, man. And everybody's willing to take time out of their what we'll call busy schedule to give back a little bit. And you said you're on 6 committees.
Yeah, 6 different committees in LVR. But why that is important, I think why I do it is because it makes me a better marketing rep for my title company because I know what you guys are going through. I'm on the forms committee, so I listen and hear some of the changes that are coming up. I'm on the education committee, so I sit through these CE classes. I'm just a monitor, but I get to go through the CE classes that you guys go through, and I feel it makes me better at my job being involved with LVR and with the committees.
Yeah, no, that's great. That is really great. And a lot of people are confused about this. I know I used to be. When I came from Detroit, we never heard the word escrow.
Right.
This is title. And we didn't use lawyers. You went to the closing table like this. The title guy was there. The lender was there. The buyer, the seller, the agents. Everything got taken care of, signed. We exchanged keys. Everybody went about their merry way. I get out here, and I learned about signing, then recording, and all this blah, blah, blah.
Right.
What's the difference between title and escrow?
Well, I mean, the main difference is the title part of it that's the insurance part of what we do, and that's the research and making sure that all of the parties can do what they need to do. We investigate the property, doing the title report. That's what the title aspect of it is. And then issuing, of course, the title policy upon closing. The escrow part, that's essentially, we're basically we're the referee in the real estate transaction, right?
That's a good way to put it.
It's a good analogy because we make sure both sides play fair. We make sure the buyer does what they're supposed to do, the seller does what they're supposed to do. We collect everything from the lender, from the home warranty company, all those things, and we make sure everything is right where it's supposed to be so we can transfer the property over free and clear to the new buyer. Now, if there's some sort of dispute between the buyer and the seller or anything like that, we just call time out and we let you guys figure it out so we can move forward.
You don't offer any advice because that's not your role.
No, we are not.
Just to make sure everybody plays fair and square.
Yeah. I had a guy come in the other day and was just asking a bunch of, well, should I do this? Should I put it in a trust? And it's hard because we know what it might be best for them, but we can't give that advice. We have to tell them, look, you need to talk to your trust attorney. talk to the people, your accountant. Those are the people that are going to give you the professional advice. Anything I always tell people, I can tell you the rules of the game. I just can't tell you how to play the game.
Right, right. And that's why it's so important for lenders and realtors to show up at the closing.
Yeah.
I had one a couple weeks ago. We had to do a last minute signing at their house. And I mean, these people were scared to death. And if I wasn't there, they would have been fine because, again, we have a title company handling it all. But yeah, they got to show up. Everyone's buzzing about inflation. Have your rates gone up a lot?
No, they haven't. I mean, our rates are tied really to the value of properties. When the value of properties go up, then the rates go up commensurate with that. But we haven't had big rate changes. I think what we're seeing, with the things with inflation is that we're just seeing really a lot more cash buyers. Actually, is what we're seeing. So actually, many of the title companies are seeing more of that. So we're actually seeing less fees come in because there's no loan title.
Now, a lot of agents, I hate this. I never do it. And I hate when agents put in the agent-to-agent comments, escrow open with ABC title. And my take is, so what? I don't know who ABC title is. I want to work with someone who I'm comfortable with. And they offer discounts. Do you guys offer discounts too?
We do offer discounts, but we offer discounts based on things like military and first-time home buyer, first responder discounts, senior discounts, and investors. We don't have something that if it's written in the MLS, which I know you don't like it, but I don't argue when they put us in there. I'm not going to lie. It makes
no, of course
works
not. Well,
for
of
me.
course, absolutely, no. Look, I would like to do it, but because I hate it so much, I feel hypocritical.
Yeah.
Because there are sometimes you just get agents that, escrow officers that I've had experiences with that were pretty poor.
Yeah.
And if I can avoid, I'm just being selfish. I want to minimize my stress levels.
I get it. I totally understand. And, that can really come with you as an agent, with a conversation with the agent on the other side. That way you don't have to put something in those agent-to-agent remarks. And look, what we do at the title company is an important part of the transaction, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
And so we want to work with everybody that we can, but having a good escrow officer that you know well and is going to take good care of you, and having a good rep, someone that is there to assist and kind of be the liaison between you and the escrow officer, because we're available all the time and you see us out. A lot of times, because we touch so many different parts of the transaction, we're a really good resource just for simple questions.
Yeah. There's a lot of fraud in our business. Aside from wires, we know wiring, there's a lot of wire fraud.
Yeah.
Have you ever had people lose money because of wire fraud?
I've seen it happen. It has. I've been with this company a short period of time, and in the time I was with Stewart Title, and then in my previous companies, we never had fraud while I was there. There was attempted fraud several times.
Yeah.
My favorite attempted fraud was I had an escrow officer come in and she's like, "Hey, Paul, I want you to look at this." I'm like, "What's going on?" She shows me, she said, "Look at this email." She's like, the seller wants me to change their wiring instructions by sending me this email. I said, "Okay, well, we can't do that." She's like, "No, I know." Well, here's his death certificate. So the fraudster was monitoring this email and sent in an email to the escrow officer, "Hey, I need to change the wiring instructions for the proceeds. They need to come here," signed, whatever the guy's name was, Bob Jones. Well, she had Bob Jones's death certificate, so clearly he wasn't the one sending it.
Yeah. I had it happen once with Sarah Brummett. You remember Sarah?
I do.
She calls me up. She goes, "Your seller just sent an email saying he wants to change banks, wire it." Now, she knew.
Right.
But she wanted to make, and somehow something came from his email saying, "Wire the money here instead," which wasn't the case when we caught it and nothing happened.
And sometimes you got to look at that. Sometimes it might not even come from his exact email. What the fraudsters get really good at is using different fonts and different characters in their email address. So, for example, if you use the A, like a lowercase a looks a certain way, but if you use a particular font where a character like a Greek character might also look the same.
Gotcha.
So it looks, when you're reading it, it looks like it's correct, but one little thing has changed, and it's a new email address, and all the things are different.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I think sometimes all these people, they're trying to screw people out of money. They're so creative. If they just take that creativity
Oh.
and put it to good use, they can make the world a better place.
I say the exact same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Exact same thing.
It's something else. Speaking of fraud, there's been a lot of fraud lately with raw land.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that for a minute.
Well, what we're seeing, because business is so tight for real estate agents, what I'm finding is agents that are getting these phone calls because of their website or they're found on the internet, and they'll call up somebody and they'll be like, "Hey, Ellie, I found you on the internet. I want to list this piece of land with you in Henderson." And these people get excited because they got a deal coming in. Well, then we come to find out that they don't own the property. They'll say my name is Bob Smith and I own this property, and here's this, I'm looking to list it for this amount. And so they start having these conversations. Well, then they go to get into escrow. Well, then we start asking for questions like, okay, well, you're going to need a notary to sign the deed. Well, I have somebody here that can do that. No. Well, why don't you come to the office? Well, I live in Northern California, so I can't come in. Oh, we have offices there. Oh, but I'm going to be out of the country. Well, all of a sudden, the red flags are going off like crazy. And it's happened, no kidding, at Stewart Title, we've caught 4 of them just in the last month.
How could they sell it without being the owner?
They can't, but what happens is, what they're hoping the title company does, they're hoping we send the documents to them, let them get it notarized fraudulently. They get a fake notary. It's not hard to get a notary stamp if they find one or steal one from somebody. Yeah. Have it notarized fraudulently. They transfer the money, or they get the sale. We transfer the property to the new buyer, send them the money, and they get that wire, and they're gone. They got whatever the land, $150,000. Now there's this new buyer who thinks they own the property.
Yeah.
Starts to work on building the house. All of a sudden, the real owner's like, "You can't do that. I own that." Well, then you know who has to pay for it? The title company does. We're going to give all the money back to.
That's what title insurance is for.
That's
right?
exactly right. That's exactly. We're going to give all the money back to the buyer, and we're on the hook for it. And we have to be really, really careful. And like I said, we've had several situations where people are trying their hardest to be fraudulent with us, but as soon as we ask for identification, they're like, "Oh, I can't find my wallet, and I need a." So it's interesting, and we're seeing a lot of it. So what I would say to a real estate agent, if you get this phone call and it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And I know that if you haven't done a deal in a minute, that this commission could be a big deal, but don't get too excited over it. Do your due diligence that you would do for your own seller, and make sure you take care of it, and you'll catch it before the title company has to.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Now, I mentioned earlier how active you are in the community, and you've been in the business a long time. Stewart Title's a great company, been around for a long time.
Yeah, 135 years.
135 years.
Yeah.
What is the difference between Stewart Title and others?
It's a really good question, because I always tell agents the same thing. We all have title reports. We all have escrow officers. We all have our own online app. We all have all the things. But the main things you're going to find that are going to be really different between title company. You want a title company that has good underwriting strength. It might not mean as much to most agents as because they haven't seen claims had to be paid or haven't had situations. But you'll find that, example, if there's a fraudulent situation, certainly Stewart Title, we have the reserves and the money to take care of the situation to make everybody whole, and we're not going to go out of business. Yeah. Whereas some of these smaller title companies, a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 fraud situation, that might completely wipe out that company altogether. And there's a couple companies in town that are very small, and they might have challenges like that.
There are a lot of new title companies now.
It's like 40 something. It's, the important thing to know is, are they their own underwriter? And I think that's key. Are you? Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. Who owns Stewart Title?
Stewart Title.
Okay, so you're not part of Fidelity or
no?
Okay.
No, Stewart Title. We are one of the major underwriters in the country. There's only think the number 7 underwriters that do 95% of the business in the country because of we are our own underwriter.
I'll ask you this question again at the end, but just take a minute and give everyone the best way to get, if they have any title questions, how they could call you.
Well, I'm pretty easy to find. I'm at all the events, I'm at all the committee meetings, you'll see me somewhere, but you can always call me, 702-236-6212, or my email address is paul.mangual@stewart.com, Mangual.
Now, Paul is not just a great title rep. Paul's a bad MFer. He's an Iron Man. Talk about your Iron Man. You've been doing it for a long time, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
I find it so impressive. Tell everybody about what Iron Man is.
Well, an Ironman is a triathlon distance, right? I got into triathlon, so I'm a triathlete. That's what I like to do for fun. And an iron distance triathlon is, to become an Ironman, you have to complete a 2.4-mile swim.
2.4-mile swim.
Swim, right?
In the ocean?
Sometimes
Okay.
ocean, sometimes swim, sometimes
Okay.
a lake, sometimes a river. Depends what on the race.
But it's not a pool.
Not a pool. No,
Okay.
no. 2.4-mile swim, followed by a 112-mile bike ride,
Wow.
followed by a full marathon.
And how many years do you have to
26.2.
do this?
Well, how many
get-
years do you have to do it?
To get to complete it.
You have 17 hours to finish it.
17 hours. Do you hear that? 17
17
hours. Unbelievable.
And so, as I've mentioned before, the distance, for those of you who live in Las Vegas, a full Ironman, the distance is traveling like from the M Casino to the McDonald's in Barstow.
Oh, my goodness.
That's 140, that's almost exactly 140.6 miles, because that's how far you travel
Okay.
with your body. And I've done that 16 times.
Wow.
So, and it's something I like to do. That's a full Ironman. I've done 16 full Ironmans. Just this past weekend, this past Saturday, I just finished my 18th half Ironman, or 70.3 is what they're called, 1.2-mile swim, 56-mile bike, and then a half marathon. That was my 18th one of those, and I've done several shorter distances. Once I ran 55 miles. I've done the Spartans. I've done all the things, and I like it because it keeps me out of trouble, and honestly, it just keeps me healthy.
Yeah.
I get to ride my bike. I like riding my bike, and that's how I hang out with my friends, really.
Do you bicycle around town here?
Yeah, sometimes. A lot of times, now that as the towns continue to get more and more crowded, traffic's getting worse, I've taken most of my riding off of the city streets onto there's a lot of really great trails to ride. Or if I'm not riding trails, I ride in really low traffic areas because something happens. As soon as you put on a bicycle helmet, you become invisible. It's really weird.
Well, I have a friend of mine in California, San Diego. He's like you. He's he's not an Ironman, but avid biker. And he bicycles in the street. I said, Brad, why do you bicycle in the street? Get on the sidewalk.
No.
Yeah, that's what he said.
No.
No way, man.
It's more dangerous on the street, actually, because of a lot of different reasons, with the undulations of and all the cracks in the sidewalk. And when you're on a bicycle, you technically have the same rights as a car. We follow the same traffic rules, and we should do exactly what cars do. So when you're out there driving and you see somebody riding along the street, and if they run through a stop sign, that's not cool. They shouldn't do that. But also keep in mind, they might put their arm out so they can signal to get in front of you. Slow down, give them some space.
Yeah, be courteous, man.
Yeah.
Just be courteous.
There's actually a law in Nevada. So there's a 3-foot law. I don't know if you know this.
I didn't know that.
That if you see a cyclist, you need to move over 3 feet.
Okay.
Or if there's 2 lanes and there's a whole nother empty lane, you're supposed to move over a lane.
Good.
It's the same rule that is out there to protect police officers when they are pulling over someone for a traffic citation or otherwise. It's the same law that you follow for them goes to cyclists.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. Because, people can be really jerks out there.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough. But, honestly, if you stay off the busy roads, it's obviously there's less of a chance to be hit by a car. It's less dangerous. So what I'd suggest for anyone who wants to get out there and get moving, don't be frightened of the road, but go where you're going to be safe. You're not going to see me riding my bike down Rainbow.
Yeah,
You're not.
That's good, yeah.
You're not going to see me riding my bike down Charleston. However, if you see me in my neighborhood in Inspirata on the back roads where I might see one or two cars, that's where you'll see me doing my thing.
Good. I know you're also huge. You mentioned earlier nights, but nights, it's getting down to the wire, isn't it?
It is. I don't know, it's getting a little close. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens. We've got 4 games left,
4 games
all
left.
at home.
Yep.
We need to win 2.
That's it. 2 games. in a
Yeah,
row?
pretty much. I mean, that's roughly the math. Depends on what St. Louis does as well. But we win 2 games, we're in the playoffs. If we win 2 and St. Louis loses 1, when they only have 3 left, we have 4 left, then we're in the playoffs. If we lose all 4 and St. Louis wins them all, then we probably don't deserve to go anyway.
How often does somebody win the Stanley Cup and then not make the playoffs the next year?
I don't know the answer.
It
to
has
that.
happened, I know that.
It's happened. I think it happened with Detroit one time when they.
Hey,
won the
listen,
Stanley
I'm
Cup.
bummed about the Red Wings. They were looking
no.
good all year. They need like a minor miracle to make it right now.
Nah, I was watching NHL Network this morning. They need a big miracle,
yeah.
not a minor miracle. They need
They
a big
do.
miracle.
And when I came to town here in '05, I'm from Detroit and love sports. Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, Pistons. I get out here in '05, all I had was running Rebels. And I can still remember to this day when I drove by the
Yeah.
Thomas and Mack for the first time, my jaw dropped. I used to watch it on TV
Yeah.
with Tark and all that. The Rebels have some good things going on.
I love it. And they've been doing great. The football program's been doing great. Basketball is always something. I remember I was telling someone a story the other day because it was like the 34th anniversary of the Runnin' Rebels winning their championship. And I was at the very last home game they played at Thomas and Mack Center, where it was Larry Johnson, Stacey Augman, George Ackle, all
boy.
those guys. So it was senior night. And quick story, it was senior night. And we were playing Long Beach State, I remember. And they start the game, and they start with a technical foul. 6 players on the court for the Runnin' Rebels. And so the announcer gets on, technical foul on UNLV. 6 seniors on the court. And the place just like erupted because it was starting everybody who was graduating, which was those 5. And then I forget who the 6th, I don't remember all the names of all of them, to be honest. But it was pretty awesome. It's been great seeing that program, and they lost in the NIT to Princeton, and Princeton actually wound up winning the whole tournament.
Oh, did Princeton win it all?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, for the NIT.
Look, when I got here, Lon Kruger was in charge, and man, what a great job. I was sorry to see him leave. Looks like Kevin's doing a pretty decent job.
I think so. And some freshmen we just had, a freshman point guard. Didon Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Well, I went to college when his dad was playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his dad played for UNLV.
That kid is a kid,
He's
a
amazing.
legitimate kid, and playing like a man.
Yeah, he's amazing, and his dad was a great player when he was here too. I actually just was I ran into his dad at dinner several weeks ago. Was chatting with him. So
you said when your dad was had an act on the script.
Yeah.
What did he do?
he's a singer. He had a cover band, a lounge act. That was the thing back in the '70s. The lounge acts before. It was long before there was, and Cirque du Soleil and everything else.
Yeah.
If you had a good lounge act, you had a good thing going, and that's what moved us out here in the '70s. And since that, obviously that's since changed, and got younger and younger. I mean, my dad's in his mid '70s now and has since moved away, but it's just interesting how I've seen this town grow. And I lived over by Samstown. That's where I grew up, over in that area. And always stayed on that side of town. But I remember when Rainbow, I said earlier, Rainbow was like the end of the earth. If I had to drive to Rainbow, I was like, oh my gosh, you got to go all the way to Rainbow? Yeah.
I tell this story a lot, but I find it interesting. When I was doing the REOs, a guy named Dave Bingham he'd do the trash outs.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come in and clean up the house, get it ready for sale. Dave was born and raised here, and I graduated in '73, as did Dave. And the year he graduated from high school, his parents moved away. They lived on 13th Street, downtown. Mm-hmm. They moved way out. He said, everyone told him, you're moving too far. No one's going to come visit you. Why are you going so far out?
Yeah.
Valley View and Sahara.
Yeah. Right.
That's a
One of the
73.
busiest intersections here in town.
Couple questions I like asking guests when they come on is your favorite restaurants.
Oh boy.
You got some favorites here?
Yeah, I got lots of favorites. My wife and I love to go out and eat. Honestly, our favorite date night restaurant, we like to go to Javier's at Aria.
Oh,
It's the Mexican restaurant there is really one of our go-tos. And That's I would say
Have
that's
you
our
been to
number
the
one.
new Durango?
Yeah,
Have you been to their Mexican restaurant?
I haven't. No.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I liked it.
I've been to their food court, was amazing.
That's what I've
But-
heard.
But we love restaurants and we love going out to all the places, and we definitely take advantage of the fact that we live in Las Vegas and we've eaten at all the best
Yeah.
steakhouse. So as far as that's one of my favorite. Also, really good one I like is called Cleaver.
Oh, I've heard Steakhouse, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Where is that?
It's in the old Ruth's Chris space on
Paradise?
Paradise and Howard Hughes.
I've read great things
great.
about that. Yeah.
So it's one of our favorites to go to, where it's like, it's really good quality and strip steakhouse quality, but not the strip pricing.
Okay,
which
I'm
is
going to
nice.
check that out.
Yeah.
How about favorite shows?
Oh goodness. Favorite shows? I mean, the hockey games. those are my favorite shows.
Those opening ceremonies
Yeah,
are just unbelievable.
yeah.
I love it.
It's a good time.
It's
And
Vegas, man.
yeah, and any of the Cirque shows, we've seen pretty much all of them. Love, I think, is leaving. It's
Yeah,
like
it
they're
is.
shutting down.
One
So
of my favorites.
if you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good one. Honestly, the one that I saw, that one that is at the Wynn, we saw it recently. I saw it with,
Oh?
no, it's the one at the Wynn. I forget what it's called, but it's kind of a weird show. Visually amazing. The storyline is kind of hard to follow, but visually one of the most beautiful shows I've seen.
Have you been to the Sphere yet?
No, I haven't. I can see it from my house on the way to
it's
work.
fantastic.
I think the Sphere is such an amazing addition to our skyline. And it was one of those things when it was being built, everybody was like, really? What's going on? And then as soon as they turned the lights on, everybody went, wow.
And that's like the new stadium for the A's if they ever get here.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Going to be a beautiful structure.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just add more beauty to and reason to come out and visit
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Our town's pretty amazing like
really
that,
is.
with all the things that we do and the sports that are here. And it's just really, I tell people all the time when they come to Las Vegas, it's a really hard place to leave once you've moved
I agree.
here.
I love it.
It's hard when you go to someplace in Wyoming and everything closes at 8 o'clock. Like, I need to go to the grocery store. Sometimes you need ice cream at 10 o'clock at night, and all the grocery stores are closed. What are you supposed to do?
No, it's fantastic. The other question I like to ask people, you're the guy to ask, of course, is most folks that don't live here, or even those that visit here, I was one of them, when I used to visit, we visited regularly, we were on the Strip.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go off the Strip.
Oh, yeah.
One time, well, many times, my wife would say, you got to go to Hoover Dam. We got to go to Hoover Dam. And no, finally, I can't keep saying no. We rented a car. I didn't know there were homes.
Yeah.
But outdoor activities, there's a ton out here.
There's so much. And actually, there's a lot of companies that have done a really good job of putting together outdoor adventures to do different things, whether it's just going out in the desert. I'm sure you guys have seen those pink Jeeps around.
Yeah.
There's those type of activities. There's different things out at the lake. Out at Red Rock Canyon, you can do the scooters out through there in Red Rock. I ride my bike out there all the
It's
time. It's
fabulous.
beautiful. But there's a lot of companies that if you just search outdoor activities in Las Vegas, there's a ton of companies that will come and pick you up from your hotel and take you to the lake, take you to Mount Charleston, take you to Red Rock Canyon, the best places to go. That's the beauty of our city is we're so close to so much.
Oh, my goodness.
We have the lake 40 minutes one way, skiing 40 minutes
So
one way.
that's a good point you just made. You can go snow skiing in the morning
Yeah.
and water skiing in the afternoon.
Yeah, if you really wanted to, yeah. True story.
It's great. It's great. All right, we are out of time. I am thrilled that you took the time to come out here with me, man.
I appreciate you
This was
inviting me,
great.
Ellie. This
Oh,
was wonderful. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, brother. One of the good guys in this town. Listen, everybody, have a great weekend. Be kind to each other. Beta, thanks a lot again. And Paul, thank you, my man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Have
it.
a wonderful afternoon and great weekend, everybody. Thanks, brother.
Bye-bye.